Well, believe it or not, Chick-fil-A is in the news again. This time, Chick-fil-A didn't have anything to do with it. They just happened to be the place that victimhood happened to someone else. Our country's in a sad place right now. In a really sad place. But I'm calling on you as leaders to get on the right side of this war and fight. I'm J Loren Norris with Leading Leaders Podcast. And without being too transparent, let me just say to you, I am a victim of sexual assault. I was at 9 years old and then more than once before I was no longer a minor. What happened to that 2-year-old in Chick-fil-A? That's becoming a victim. And I'm glad that there was someone with enough testosterone still flowing through his veins to stand up and stop the event and see to it that the perpetrator was arrested on the spot and will face the full punishment that his crime creating that 2-year-old victim deserves. And I also pray that the family that has been traumatized by the effect of this damage to their daughter will find healing and peace. But let me just say at the same time that we as leaders, we have an obligation to society to have enough wisdom and enough common sense to know the difference between a real life victim and someone crying wolf for the sake of publicity. In the last 3 weeks, I don't know how much you pay attention to media, but there's a trend taking place and there's something wrong with it. But it's a something wrong that has been created by the nature of our culture over the last decade or so. Just in the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've had 2 major events, according to the media, that have got a lot of national and even international publicity. With the speed of Twitter, with the impact of Google searches, with the power of YouTube video and Facebook video, and the ability for anyone to transmit what's going on in an event, literally live and instant. The media should have enough understanding of that reality that they wouldn't try to create lies and manipulation, but twice in the last 3 weeks, we've had major events that the media portrayed as a particular type of an event to create a victim classhood, to create a victim status for a particular group of people or person for their own benefit, for the ongoing conversation that they want to have, for the purpose of the publicity that they want to have, for notoriety, to become famous. And yet the problem is, because everyone has a cell phone in their hand and everyone's cell phone has the ability to shoot video and everyone has the ability to take photographs, it's hard to get a conspiracy of people together who all agree with you. As the old saying says, if you're standing on a street corner and there's an auto accident, 5 witnesses will have 7 different stories about what happened. Because at least 2 of those people can't agree with themselves, much less agree with the other 5 people or the other 3 people at that intersection. So when you see something happen in public and everyone has their cell phone out recording it, the ability to take a snippet out of that and lie about it becomes very, very difficult. And yet our national media still tries to do that. Hence the $250 million defamation lawsuit against the Washington Post. I'm guessing he'll never see half of it, but I do believe that the slander and the libel and the misnaming and the character assassinations of a 17-year-old boy who, by all intents and purposes, according to the thousands of other videos shot that day, did absolutely nothing wrong, but he was utterly destroyed in the media because he was the perfect target for the would-be victims in the scenario. As leaders, we've got to have the wisdom to know who really is a victim and who isn't. Who really needs our help and our support and someone to fight for them. And who's using their victim status as a trophy as a brownie button, as a badge of honor, who's creating their own victim status in order to create greater division and divisiveness in our country for political gain or financial gain, or who is using their victim status because it's going to get them the public notoriety. As they say, even bad press is press. If you can get yourself on the front page of the newspaper or the top feed of Twitter or the top feed of any other social media, you can be famous. Your name could be a household name within hours. I'll tell you something. There's something mentally and morally corrupt about the idea that the only way for you to get famous is to claim victimhood somehow. If you live your life in such a space that only victimhood makes you feel comfortable, there's something truly wrong with you. I say that as a victim. It's ridiculous. You don't want all the trauma that goes along with being a victim. Don't make it up if it's not real. Trust me, it's not worth it. But if you're in a leadership role, you have an obligation to discern the difference, to be wise, fight for those who truly are victims, and help bring correction to those, justice to those who would mock victimhood for the sake of their own public gain. It's sick. There's something wrong with it. Sorry for the soapbox. Leaders got to speak where the truth needs to be heard. I'm J Loren Norris on Leading Leaders Podcast for Tell It Like It Is TV. Have a blessed day.